need to know. Our game picks, hype speeches on the way. It's January 15th. Divisional round is tomorrow. My name's Kay Adams, Peter Schrager, Kyle Brandt, Nate Burleson, all here for the party. And so is our NFL Network insider, Ian Rappaport, joining us right here off the top because we've got some big news in the coaching world, and it continues to break. What's the latest with the Falcons, everything else going on here in New York with the Jets? What up?
A lot of coaching dominoes going on right now. We'll start with the Atlanta Falcons. Arthur Smith has been the favorite there for really some time. They brought him in for a second interview, thought they might close it there, wanted to go on some other trips and kind of really see what was out there and just basically get all the information he could. He had a visit scheduled to the Detroit Lions this morning. I'm told that visit is now off. He has been in talks, I'm told, with the Atlanta Falcons on potentially becoming their new head coach. As of this very second, those talks are not done and finalized, so we will wait. But clearly, signs are pointing to Arthur Smith being the next head coach for the Atlanta Falcons. We do have some firm and final coaching hires, specifically with the New York Jets and the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll start with the Jets. Robert Saleh, the respected defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, and one of the hottest candidates this year. I mean, you've seen him on the sidelines, his bald head, his craziness, getting players pumped up. I know the players love this guy in San Francisco. Richard Sherman was probably as happy as this hire as anyone. He is going to the New York Jets, signs a 5-year deal to be their new head coach. And then for the Jacksonville Jaguars, their search for Urban Meyer finally concluded late last night. He actually landed in Jacksonville in the afternoon, stepping out onto a Jaguars welcome mat. The deal had not even been done, but clearly it was getting done, and later in the night it did get done. Urban Meyer signs a long-term deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The winningest coach we've seen in a long time in college football, not named Nick Saban, now takes his talents to the NFL, probably takes on, guys, one of the best situations you could possibly imagine in Jacksonville.
Appreciate the updates, Ian. Of course, Mr. Saleh is a defensive-minded coach. He'll probably have to speak to both sides of the ball. Likely that he brings Mike LaFleur there from the Bay Area with him. We'll see and tell you guys when that, of course, is certified and cemented. And we appreciate the updates all around this morning. Ian Striggs, what went down with the Jets last night?
They got their guy, and he ended up with the team he wanted to be at. So Saleh interviewed with most of the NFL teams. After he interviewed with the Jets, he made it very clear, this is where I want to be. He connected with Joe Douglas, the general manager, with Christopher Johnson, the CEO, and with Jaime Elhai, who is the president. Now, what you're getting, Jets fans, is, yes, Ian mentioned the bald head and the pump-up speeches. You're also getting an intellect. This is a guy who connects with people. There's stuff online, if you want to see, from last year's coaching summit, where you can see how Robert Saleh speaks to players and speaks to other coaches. And you're also getting a great story. Son of a construction worker, married man to his wife, Sanaa. Sanaa is now pregnant with their 7th child. She is due in April. They will be Sanaa Salah. They will be coming over here to New Jersey. They have 6 kids. He's created a family that is beautiful out there, but they have moved city to city. They have finally found a true home.
7?
It will be in New Jersey. 7 on the way.
That's awesome.
But this is a guy who, for Jets fans who have been waiting, saying, we want this college coach or we want Doug Peterson. For whatever it's worth, Robert Saleh wants to be the head coach of the Jets. He's wanted it for a couple of days now since meeting with them, and they wanted him. So sunny days here in New York and New Jersey for the Jets fans. I would say this, there is a lot of work to be done. But welcome, Robert Saleh. Welcome, Sanaa. Welcome the 6 little ones and the 7th one on the way.
That's so cute.
We're all excited to have them here in New York. A perfect place for them and their leadership. It's going over really well with Jets fans as well. If you're a Jets fan, we want to hear from you at GMFB with your thoughts. It's time for the road to the Super Bowl. That's right. It continues this weekend, as in tomorrow. The divisional playoffs, momentum building, pressure rising. Final 8 teams looking to punch their ticket to Championship Sunday. The divisional playoffs presented by Intuit TurboTax Live. The action kicks off tomorrow at 4:35 p.m. Eastern. Let's focus on that Sunday night Brady Brees situation. That one's happening, of course, in New Orleans. Drew Brees, by the way, happy birthday. Yeah, and Brees is 42. Tom Brady reminded us, though, guys, yesterday that he is still the elder statesman in Sunday's game.
He's a lot younger than me. I mean, he's 18 months older than me, so 18 months younger. 18 months ago, I felt pretty good, so I've got a little advanced age on him and experience, but I'm hanging in there. He's had a terrific year, and he's a great player. I've known him for a long time. Always had a great amount of respect for him and just think so much of him as a person, as a player, and I know what it takes to do what he's doing. He knows what it takes to do what I'm doing. And I think there's just a lot of mutual respect.
Great analysis from Tom Brady there. I love how competitive he's like, no, I'm older, and I'm a lot older. Let's get that straight. 18-month edge that he has. And he is the oldest quarterback to ever start in a playoff game. I mean, Drew Brees, no spring chicken, though. He's 42, the second oldest player to ever start in a playoff game. Impressive resumes for both of them, of course. What would a win mean for these guys? More to Brady's legacy or more to Drew Brees' legacy?
I believe it's Drew Brees. Brady is solidified. He's oftentimes talked about the GOAT. He is really tap dancing on the best athlete in the world conversation. I'm talking about athleticism, but I'm talking about legacy because of how much he's won. But Drew Brees, in my mind, has always been a multiple ring winner. He just doesn't have more than one ring.
Yeah.
He's had opportunities, and if their team, I'm not going to say him, if their team squanders another, look at that hair right there. If the team squanders another opportunity for him to win a ring, it'd be disappointing. Is he a Hall of Famer? No doubt about it. Will he be first ballot? No doubt about it. Will he top the chart statistically? No doubt about it. Check, 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 all that. But is he going to be the guys on the list that have one ring that should have won more? That's why this is going to change the narrative. You go from one ring guy to 2 Super Bowls. That's why it means so much more for Drew Brees' legacy.
The NFL did a top 100 list, and Drew Brees wasn't on it. Quarterbacks didn't make it. Didn't make it top 10 quarterbacks. Do you think if he has a second Super Bowl ring, that changes that conversation?
Now the conversation,
do you
for
think
sure.
So?
It changes, no doubt about it. Like, if we had a conversation just without resume, and I said, who's a better quarterback, Drew Brees or Ben Roethlisberger? I think a lot of us will say Drew Brees is a better passer. He's better in the pocket. He's been more consistent. He's taking care of the ball a little bit better than Big Ben. But if you look at the rings that Big Ben has, he has argument to say, he can't touch me. I have 2 Super Bowls.
But if they're both in the Hall of Fame, does it matter?
Yeah, it does. There's certain guys that go into, what do we call it, football heaven? And there's certain guys that sit to the next to the throne of
There's a VIP room in football heaven?
Exactly. There's a velvet rope.
Is that true? And
Drew Brees needs to get behind.
I think it does matter because, and I think this game this weekend is big for both of them. These guys are linked for life. Like, these guys are going to be at the same golf tournaments. They're going to be at the same panel discussions at Canton. Depending on how the polls go, they'll be at the same correspondent dinners. Like, they are going to be hanging out a lot, and it's always going to be caught up, sometimes earnestly by journalists, sometimes by fans screaming at them, who's better, who's better. If Brees wins, make no mistake, there is an entire torch-wielding legion of people who are GOAT truthers, who are like, it is Brees, dude, it is Brees. If Brees wins, he's 6-2 against Tom Brady. No one's beaten him more. Eli hasn't beaten him that much.
Is that right?
6-2.
Great stat.
He's currently 5-2, Peter, and ain't too shabby.
And he's swept them this year.
So when they're on these panels, when they're at Pebble, Brady can be like, ha, 9 Super, ha. Brees is like, I owned you, dude. And you know what? I beat you 3 times that year in 2020 when you guys had the supposed super team, and then we waxed you in the playoffs. It's really big. But if Brady wins, he's like, remember that time I also knocked you out with that team of all-stars we sort of threw together at the last second and I ended your career? That's the ultimate walk-off. I think it's high stakes for both of them. There's GOAT discussions. There's a million radio segments for the next 50 years. All kinds of high stakes. This game kind of swings it in a way. It's a real sledgehammer for whoever wants to swing it.
Aaron Rodgers is like, yeah. I'm going to beat either one of you.
During that panel, is Eli Manning backstage?
I think he is. Yes.
And
yeah,
also
he's there.
saying,
Yes.
I own you, Tom Brady.
There's a hilarious bit that Cooper is doing for Fox. It's great. Yes, they're all there.
I cringe sometimes when we have to answer these questions about legacy because it feels like talk radio, right?
It is.
It feels like a bad sports radio segment. But
Talk radio is popular.
This one really matters, and talk radio is very popular. We could talk about Hall of Fame debates. Everything is an icing on the cake at this point for Tom Brady. He's nothing to prove to anybody, and yet if he does this in the first year with Tampa Bay and puts together this super team, and then also at the same point to what you're saying, eliminates Brees.
Maybe eliminates him for good.
It might be Brees' last game ever, and it's Brady as a 43-year-old in a Buccaneers uniform.